Now, we love superstitions over here on Top 10 Beyond the Screen, and as we know, there are many accounts of cursed movies and movie franchises. However, we have to touch on the cursed careers of some of Hollywood's most beloved actors. So today on Beyond the Screen, we're going to be counting down our list of top 10 great actors with cursed careers. And by we, I mean me and Lucy McPhee. That rhymed. Whoa.
Before we begin though, be sure to stick around until the end of the video where we'll be responding to some of your comments. And with that, let's jump in.
At number 10 is Tara Reid, who has the girl next door curse, also known as the hot girl curse. I mean, if I was gonna have a curse, I think I would want this one. She was once riding high, starring in the wildly successful movie series American Pie. Tara played a hot babe named Vicky and even made the cover of Rolling Stone magazine during that time, which basically just confirms that you are some hot in Hollywood. Get on that cover magazine. You know you're doing well. Looking back on her career now though, she said she hoped that American Pie would be the springboard for her entire career, but instead it kind of dropped once the series was over. She was often looked at as the girl next door and only ever booked roles of that nature. It might not seem like a bad thing to us, being the hot girl in movies, but she admitted during an interview that no one ever respected her or took her very seriously. This pressure is also what caused her to get plastic surgery, which ended up making things worse. In 2004, she had a breast augmentation done, which left her with rippled skin all over her stomach. She spoke on it and said, "My stomach became the most ripply, bulgy thing. I had a hernia, this huge bump next to my belly button. As a result, I couldn't wear a bikini and I lost a lot of work." Since she could no longer book the hot girl role, she was pretty much out of work altogether.
Coming in at 9, Jerry O'Connell. Now this former icon is suffering from the show killer curse. In his early years, this star found fame when landing a role in the now iconic movie Stand By Me alongside River Phoenix, before landing a slew of successful TV shows. However, the actor sadly has a longer list of failed sitcoms than almost anybody else. Back in 1995, he starred in Sliders as Quinn Mallory for 5 seasons, and then went on to play a detective in Crossing Jordan for 6. However, after that, he hit a major streak of bad luck, which doesn't seem to have ended. It all began in 2008 with the show Do Not Disturb, before going on to work his way through 14 failed sitcoms in just 6 years. That's insane, where still almost all of these failed to get past the first season, including Rex Is Not Your Lawyer, Eastwick, and Satisfaction.
Swiping the number 8 spot is Orlando Brown, who lost his career to the Disney curse. It's no secret that people who have worked with Disney as a kid have sometimes gone off the deep end. Orlando Brown is one of them and has found himself in controversy ever since That's So Raven ended back in 2007. He was making serious headlines in 2018 after his mugshot started surfacing on the internet. He was actually arrested 3 different times in 1 year. The first time he was arrested in January was because of a battery charge, possession of a controlled substance, and resisting a police officer. He was later arrested in August because he missed one of his court dates from the first incident. Then, in September, surveillance cameras at a restaurant caught him trying to shut off their alarm system and change the locks of a restaurant because he was trying to steal the money from it. He is a hot mess. And we know he's not the only one who has gone through this curse, it just seems like he's the one who cannot break out of it.
Coming in at 7, Cuba Gooding Jr. Back in the 90s, Cuba Gooding Jr. was a hot commodity in Hollywood, starring in movies like Jerry Maguire, for which he nabbed himself an Oscar for Best Supporting Actor, and then of course A Few Good Men. However, he began to hit a few road bumps by appearing in a few controversial movies such as Pearl Harbor and then the god-awful movie Boat Trip, which was generally believed to have homophobic undertones. Bad move, Cuba. Both of these movies had a huge effect on his career, and sadly not even his charisma and showbiz personality could save it. The actor has somewhat appeared to be a one-hit wonder than the Hollywood icon everyone expected him to be after winning the Oscar. Sucks to be Cuba.
In spot number 6 is Adrian Brody, who's cursed by what's known as the Oscar curse. At one point in his career, he was being compared to Al Pacino, which is a pretty big deal. He became the youngest man in Hollywood to win an Oscar for Best Actor. He won the award in 2003 when he was just 29 years old. But in today's industry, a lot of people don't even recognize his name. That doesn't mean he hasn't had a successful career, because he has. He's also known for his leading role in the Academy Award winning movie The Pianist. It looked like his career was going to continue on that high. He was young, he was talented, and he already had an Academy Award under his belt. But a lot of people blame his future movie flops on on the Oscar curse. He went on to be in movies like The Village and The Singing Detective, both of which were torn apart by critics. He's continued to book movie roles, but overall his career has been pretty patchy compared to when he was the next Al Pacino. It's almost like the Oscars set the bar too high for him, like too soon in his career.
Coming in at 5, Kristen Bell. Now you may be all a little annoyed at me that Kristen Bell is on our list, particularly Joss, but hear me out. Kristen is often labeled as Hollywood's sweetheart, ever since she hit it big on her sitcom Veronica Mars, which was sadly cancelled. She is a good actress, there's no denying that, but the film she picks leaves a lot to be desired. She appeared in train wreck movies like When in Rome, Pulse, Fanboys, and Burlesque, all box office flops that were severely panned by critics. Now there was a movie spin-off of her hit series Veronica Mars, which was largely appreciated by critics, but flopped at the box office, proving that Belle can't really seem to catch a break in Hollywood these days. She did land everyone's dream role though when she appeared in Frozen as Anna, however, the kicker is, she never appeared on screen. It is simply her voice. Perhaps this is a loophole in the Hollywood curse.
At number 4 we have Christopher Reeve, who suffers from the Superman curse. This curse is believed to be so intense that it has ended multiple careers, not by being blacklisted, but by death. There has been an ongoing belief that there is a curse cast on every actor who takes on the role of the hero. It started with George Reeves, who took on the hero from 1951 to 1957. He was associated with the role so closely that it was almost impossible for him to land a successful role in anything else. He was found dead in 1959, just a few days before he was supposed to get married. It was reported to be a suicide, but a lot of controversy followed his death. Hence, the Superman curse. But a more modern Superman felt the curse as well, Christopher Reeves. He first took on the role in 1978, but in 1995 he was competitively horse riding when he was thrown off the horse and paralyzed. He was able to continue in a rehabilitation process, but died of heart failure in 2004. The death of the second Superman actor is what intensified the legend of this so-called Superman curse.
Coming in at number 3, Marlon Brando. Like our previous number, this is yet another actor who suffered from the Superman curse. That thing goes around. Marlon Brando is an indisputably acclaimed actor known for roles such as A Streetcar Named Desire, On the Waterfront, and of course The Godfather. However, back in 1978 he became a victim of the Superman curse after he appeared as Superman's father alongside Christopher Reeve. Following this, Brando had a tumultuous life, especially private life. His son was sent to prison for 10 years for murdering the boyfriend of his half-sister, and 5 years later that same sister, Brando's daughter, committed suicide. In the years that followed, the actor began to let himself go physically and eventually passed away from respiratory failure and heart failure in 2004, just 4 months before Christopher Reeve passed away.
Taking over the number 2 spot is Matthew Perry with the Friends curse. The same curse went around for the Seinfeld TV series. Apparently it means that those involved in a long-running sitcom can't seem to book successful roles outside of it. But that's not totally true, seeing as Jennifer Aniston, who worked on Friends, is one of the biggest actors in Hollywood. But Matthew Perry, also known as Chandler, didn't have as much luck when trying to break that curse. After the series finale in 2004, he returned to TV but had a very short-lived experience on the show Studio 60 on the Sunset Strip. I've never even heard of it. Since then he has been able to book some jobs like the movie 17 again back in 2009 and the TV series Mr. Sunshine back in 2011. But his resume is pretty bare for someone who had such a successful career for 10 years straight. That's probably because people can't take him out of his role from Chandler. I mean, let's be real, he will always be Chandler Bing to me.
And finally, coming in at number 1, Halle Berry. Oh, Halle Berry. You guys know I'm not a fan of hers, which I also know angers a lot of you. Surprisingly so. Anyway, there's no denying that Halle is a good actress. She even made history in 2002 when she became the first African American woman to win an Oscar in the Best Actress category for her role in Monsters Ball. Her speech was of course unforgettable, going down in history as one of the best. Of course, following her epic win, the actress had her pick of all the movies. However, she fell into a rabbit hole of bad movies, including Gothika and Catwoman, for which she picked up a Razzie Award for Worst Actress. I mean, we all saw the basketball scene, she deserved it. Now, she has reprised her role as Storm in 3 X-Men movies, but at this point, we're over it. They rebooted X-Men. I'm only here for Sophie Turner and her crew, and that's the tea. Well, there we have it guys. Before we go though, we just want to respond to a few comments from one of our last videos. Darwin Ang says, I love your sarcasm, give me more. Well, there will be more because I can't not be sarcastic. It's a curse.
Facts. Stormy Star says, wow, now you are smiling and laughing, kind of disappointed. Hey now, I smile more than I don't smile.
That's the truth.
Right?
It's offensive.
Elf Franco says, Jocelyn, have you ever watched any of these films? Borat is the only one I am guessing. No. I've actually seen all of them. I just have not seen a Serbian film.
You haven't seen a Serbian film?
No, because you told me not to.
Don't ever watch it. It's Alright guys, there we have it. If you haven't already, be sure to give this video a big thumbs up, subscribe, turn on notifications so you never miss another Beyond the Screen vid. And until next time, see you later.
Ya.